welcome everybody. We're doing a little bonus episode. Coach Chase. Chase is back in the house. Chase, how's it going there?
Oh, I'm here. We just wrapped up a stellar conversation, and now we're here for another one. I love it.
Absolutely, dude. It was great. I very much enjoyed that. That's the one thing about podcasting I really enjoy is the places you can go. You know, I get the impression you do the same on your podcast. You'll have, a couple bullet points of high level things you want to hit off. And then other than that, I can just go on tangents and, between the curiosity of the guest and the interesting nature of everything you have to say. But there you go. It's a great episode. It's like a shoe in for that. So thanks.
Sure.
Rad. So we're here for this bonus episode. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about, I imagine it's your first album. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's my first album.
Rad. Question before we get into the album. Are you a musician? Do you play guitar, drums, anything else as far as I guess you got some singing bowls you play?
I have singing bowls. I do have singing bowls. And I have out of frame, not plugged in because that's been how long I've played since I played it. So like we moved in last August and it's never been plugged in. A keyboard over there that my wife got me for my birthday a few years back because I played piano when I was a kid.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd like to learn piano again. I'd like to get back into it, this and that. And then she bought me a keyboard for my birthday and it's been sitting. So that's one of those things, like as Primal Man continues to hum and as time continues to be something that I create more structure with, setting aside a few chunks of time each week to get on the keys again.
Absolutely. Is playing the keyboard like riding a bike? Do you remember all the chords? Or it's just a little rusty, but no.
I was like, I think I was like younger. I think I was like middle school when I stopped playing. So it's been 20 years.
Yeah. Okay. There'll be a little bit of, relearning. Yeah.
I'm sure after a couple months, like I did get like there's apps these days, right? You need a piano teacher. Like
that's right.
And it tells you, it listens and it's more mean than my piano teacher when I was a kid. It'll make you replay like right away. It's like, no, your timing's off, notes off, this and that. So
yeah. It has that like delightful robot voice, but it's like super passive aggressive. Like, no, try again.
Yep.
Here we go. Thanks. Yeah, rad. So Mystical Giants, Chase TOLLESON, available on all streaming sites.
Yeah, Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes. I know for right now. I'd have to check if it's on Pandora or not. I'll check with Mr. Schwartz.
Yes. So Mike Schwartz, shout out Mike the Schwartz, a good friend of both of us and of the podcast here. So he was the man behind the board, so to speak. But yeah, let's tell us about what this album is, how it came about, just the origins of it, and what you're looking to do with it.
So the origins of it, Mike Schwartz ties into that story very much so, because we were on, I think it was one of the goal setting sessions earlier this year within Lifted. And he messaged me. He's like, hey man, he had dubbed me the mic drop king like a year ago. Right. Sometimes I say some good things. And he's like, hey, you ever thought about putting some of your good monologues to music and creating like an Akira the Don style vibe? I said better because Akira the Don but Akira the Don samples podcasts or other speeches and puts them with music. So I already had a few journal entries that I was like, oh yeah, let's go. Like journal entries that were born out of psilocybin on the beach, being reflective kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. You take 2 grams of dried fruits and pull a journal out on the beach, you're going to get some good material.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I recorded that, and I actually had the file from one because I had published it as a solo podcast, and Mike sent me that back and I was like, oh, okay. And they only got better from there. Like,
cool.
This was a beta, like it was the first of this style that Mike had done too. So as you listen to the album, like some of them, and they all hit appropriately, but some of them have a lot of like, he chunked it out and did a hook and, made it more song-like. And some of them are just me reading it straight through, and they all flow perfectly for what they are. And it's frequency minded. So there's stuff that like, 852, 528, 432. So it's all at certain hertz. And I've had people comment like, that really hooks me to listen to. Like your words are good and there's something about the music.
Mm.
Oh, well, it's because it's at something better than 440.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's 6 tracks and it's Chase philosophy. And it's almost every track there. Yes, I was writing some of them knowing that the album was in production, and all of them were like intuitive, just free flows. It wasn't like, oh, I got to write something on this subject. It was cool. I have this thought, and all of a sudden the pen's moving.
Yeah. That's great. That's super cool. So, yeah, I guess first for the frequency, anybody's kind of wondering, okay, the 528, definitely Google it. There's so much YouTube videos on, you know, why 432 hertz to tune your instruments to 432 or even 444 versus there's like a pretty hilarious conspiracy theory about 440. I don't know if you've seen that one with like it's like Nazi mind control frequency and the Rockefeller group started it was in the 30s they decided to start using 440 as like a because it is very uncomfortable if they when they show the difference between that versus 432 like if you put the rod tuning rod in water like what the reaction it does to that. So frequency stuff's crazy. I mean that could be a whole nother episode too, but
Yes.
definitely Google it if you're hearing like 852 and okay, what is Chase talking about? Just look it up. It's like the chakra healing frequencies, solfeggio
Yep.
frequencies. Have a
And
look. It's pretty rad.
what Mike did there is the subject of each song, depending on which chakra he thought it was going to hit the most, he put that frequency to it. So like if you search intuition frequency, it's going to be 852. My track Awaken Your Intuition is 852. So
Sweet. Oh, I love
yeah.
that. I love that. So how was this for as far as like timeline for coming together? Was it just one of those things that just okay, this just clicks? Like you said, it's kind of his first approach with this. It's yours, right? You got the spoken word. Was there a time where it was like kind of you had to figure out where it lied, or was it just one of these things like boom, it just fit and it just felt right, and here we go.
Yes to both.
Mm.
Because I had some tracks where it was like, yeah, I have that one recorded from a podcast. I have this other journal entry still. Oh, and I have a third journal entry. So I had like 3 basically sped up and ready to go.
Okay.
And then it was kind of like, what else do I want to write on?
Sure.
And I tried forcing it for a couple weeks there, and then I just kind of sat back. And then like one day, I'd smoked a little cannabis on a Sunday, which
Mm.
that could have been a whole nother 20 minutes on our recovery podcast about my relationship with cannabis through the years.
Yeah.
Um, and smoked a little cannabis on a Sunday and sat down out back and put a song on called 12th Density. Uh,
Mm.
and it just came to me, and I grabbed my phone because I didn't have my journal out there. I just thumbs just started going. And next thing I know, I'm like, oh, that's like the perfect length for our last track. So for anybody listening to the album, that one is the true character. No, that one's the passion versus distraction track.
Mm.
So yeah.
I love that. And then so after okay, so you had like you said, you had some pre-existing journal entries that just fit.
Yep.
And then there's a degree of like potentially writer's block because you're like, okay, you feel like it's a bit forced, or now you
Yep.
have an idea, and sometimes you can get in your own head about that. You have a little,
Mhm.
cannabis to help you kind of get out of your
Yep.
head or transcend that, and then you're kind of going. So now I imagine your creative process has this as like like do you have album number 2 in the works as far as like, do you have some journal entries going? You know what the parameters are. Okay, 2 pages is
Mhm.
a song, that sort of thing. Is that going through your head now when you're as part of your creative process?
So the next album is going to be Primal Van Pillars.
Mm.
And this is a change of gears because I can go philosophical relatively easy and come up with some stuff. I mean, there's a chance I was the father of Western philosophy, so I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Listen to part 1 for what he's talking about.
listen to part one,
Yeah.
you'll have the context.
Yeah. That's right.
And also, it's going to be a change of gears to go in and make the Primal Man pillars seem cool. So that's something Mike and I are going to riff on and create a space where I'm able to fully articulate and still have it hold people's attention and
Mm,
come across, so I'm not to avoid having it sound like a lecture, or sound like
yeah,
just one of my modules in my program.
sure, sure. And speaking of that, like, how was it for you to record your own voiceover? Was it literally you just recorded the voiceover and then it was up to Mike to place it, or were you doing it to music, or sort of a hybrid of both, depending on what was called for? What was the actual production of the recording process?
So for 4 of the tracks, I sent him the voice, and he
Mm,
made a track for it.
gotcha.
For the other two, he sent me tracks, and I would have them playing in my ear as I recorded. I did not record them to the track,
Mm,
but the cadence of my speech matched the track more. So
yeah,
then he still chopped it up and remixed my voice a little bit more, and it flows better with the track. Those two, or well, it flowed with the track as opposed to him having to make a track that flowed with my voice.
I get you. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And aside from that, any thoughts of like other collaborators, or is this sort of as far as right now, a closed group with yourself and Mike until you really, find your voice as far as the two of you? Any thoughts into that? Because I'm always curious by that as well.
That's a great question, and one that I had yet to consider.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a way to work other collaborators in and have it, that'd be very cool. Yeah, that's a fresh thought. So that's something that I would that to sit with and marinate. That would be cool. And um, I know the next project is the Primal Van Pillars, which will be myself and Mike. But other than that, yeah, I mean, if there's collaborators out there that want to make some magic and we can riff on it, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it seems interesting. It just seems like it would loan itself to, a lot of the content, and just it's so fresh and new. It's such a new idea. So as soon as you can get some other like-minded people in there, I imagine it could really, go completely different place. Like, for me, music is so collaborative. There's so much that I've had in my life through my experiences with music that I would have never created myself had I not been exposed to just somebody else musical's perspective. So that's what I was thinking. It would be kind of neat for specifically what you're doing. So just a thought. Yeah, dude. So mystical giants, and who came up with the cover art? It's pretty rad picture.
So, oh, I gotta pull him up now and plug his name accurately.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Really cool cover art.
yeah. So my buddy Austin Linney
Mm.
um connected me with a guy, and I think he changed his handle, and I'm uh having a having trouble finding him.
Well, I put you on the
That,
spot there.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, that being said, Austin connected me with this guy, and if I recall correctly, his name was Josh. I just can't find his handle right now. And if I find it before you publish this, I'll send it to go in the show
Yeah,
notes.
send it
Yeah,
to me. We'll throw in the show notes. Absolutely. No,
but
it's great, dude.
the whole thing was like make a like it wasn't intended. Negation knowledge. It wasn't intended as a cover art.
Mm.
Uh, and
Oh,
then
okay.
I had it just to have, and I was like, "Ooh, we need cover art, and this is really cool." And
Yeah.
it just worked.
Yeah, it so does. It's perfect. So, yeah, so Mystical Giants, you can find it, as you said, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes for now. Definitely check those for now. I think, honestly, the majority of people have one or the other or both. So,
Yep.
should be easy to find that way. And yeah, any finishing off, any final thoughts there as far as your album goes?
So the album, like you guys want to stream it, please go ahead. And if you feel like supporting, there is a Bandcamp
Mm,
link where you can purchase the album as well if you want it to own for yourself.
rad. We'll definitely link that as well. Chase, thanks for your time today, man.
Thank you, brother.